Brandon Aiyuk also spoke, and Matt Barrows asked, and Brandon Aiyuk, same deal, actually. He displayed some of what Brandon Aiyuk said was about how I used to be the young guy. Now I'm, this is year 3 for me. I'm a veteran. And Matt Barrows from The Athletic asked him a really good question. He said, year 3 was when Debo kind of took the next step. Do you have, you're coming into your 3rd year.
That'd be an understatement.
Do you have goals for yourself? And Brandon Aiyuk said, yes, I have goals for myself. Everybody has goals for themselves, but he didn't specify any specific goals. He said, I want to win. That's the number one issue. So I thought we could project Brandon Aiyuk's numbers. What do you think a year 3? And there's a couple ways to define it, right? You could say, what do you think he's going to do? And we could say, what does a good 3rd year for Brandon Aiyuk look like? But I think the way to look at it is what do we think a good 3rd year from Brandon Aiyuk could look like?
Well, so he's basically, through his first 2 seasons, averages 58 catches, 778 yards, and 5 touchdowns a season.
He had 2 rushing touchdowns year 1, none year 2.
Oh, so he has 10 passing touchdowns combined. So 10 receiving touchdowns through 2 years. So he's averaging 5, and 56 and 60. So he's averaging 58. I would say, I wouldn't say he underachieved, but he can definitely achieve more. Now, part of it was the way it started slow last year. His quarterback situation, his rookie year was kind of a disaster, right? I mean, Jimmy got hurt, missed, however, 10 games. He was playing with Mullins and CJ. Now, this situation is not guaranteed to be just Mr. 70% completion percentage every game. But I think it's fair to think that we get a 80-catch season and get that number from 5 passing touchdowns to 7, 8. And then you're just a really, really impactful. To me, he's destined to be a really good number 2. I mean, he already kind of is a solid number 2 based on production, but it can be better. Like, just watch him in practice. Like, he fucking can play,
Yeah.
Because he's way better than a 3. I don't ever see him. I mean, he's still pretty young. He's 20. He's 24. He's not that young. It feels like his destiny, if he maxes out, to be like, we feel excellent about this guy being our number 2 wide receiver or number 2 passing option, whether maybe you have a Kittle's a star or whoever.
So I think a couple things. I think the numbers.
I'm going around 80.
I'm going 68. I'll tell you why. First of all, a bad quarterback situation isn't necessarily bad for a quarterback's reception numbers, right? They were worse the year that he had more catches because they had to throw the ball more. Last year, they ran the ball more. So
That's
year
true.
1.
And with this team, you're right. Maybe I should bring that down because are they really going to have that many guys catching 90 balls?
Let me go through it, and then you tell me if you want to amend your number. Because he caught 60 balls in 12 games in year 1. He caught 56 balls last year. His 60 catches in year 1, so only had 4 more catches in year 1, but he played in 5 fewer games, led the team. Kendrick Bourne, he led the team with 60 catches in 12 games in year 1 by
Debo
11
Kittle
catches.
hurt. Yeah.
That year, he caught 16% of their balls. Last year, he also caught 16% of their balls, even though he had fewer catches in more games. But he was 3rd on the team in catches, 15 catches behind Kittle. So he was in first place by 11 in year 1 and in 3rd place behind 2nd place by 15 in year 2. But the same percentage of their balls went to Brandon Aiyuk. And, I think I look at the Dallas Cowboys last year as the template for their distribution this year, right? We agree. They're not the Rams, where Cooper Kupp has 145 catches. And second on the team is Tyler Higbee with 61. Like, these guys are built differently. Here were the Cowboys last year. CeeDee Lamb had 79 catches. Dalton Schultz had 78 catches. And Amari Cooper had 68 catches. Lamb 79. Last year, Debo led the team with 77. Schultz 78. Last year, Kittle was 2nd with 71. Cooper 68. Last year, Aiyuk was 3rd with 56. So the number 3 receivers where the drop-off was between the 2 teams. Now, there was another major difference. The Cowboys were 5th in attempts. The Niners are 31st.
Yeah.
But the Niners are probably, ideally, they'll be, I don't know if they'll be 31st in pass attempts. They might have to be we think they're going to want to run the ball a lot, but are
But
they going
let's
to
say they go 31 to like 20. Even that would be.
And even I would say even 25 maybe. So to me, because they're still going to want to run the ball a lot, right?
One thing though with Aiyuk though, guy, is like last year, for example, I would say like his last 60% of the year, he was really good. His first,
That's true.
basically going into Halloween, he had 9 catches. So all September and basically all October. Because remember, he kind of got iced out early, hamstring Kyle, whatever fuck you want to believe it was. He just was iced out. 9 catches going into the Halloween game against the Bears. And then, so think about that. If he just would have been on his normal trajectory of just playing more, Sherfield was getting his reps. Does that number 56 more like 69? I mean, remember early on, I was like, is this guy in the game?
So the Bears game, from that game on, or you could go to Arizona, then he was 6'3", 7, 6, 4, 4. Yeah, I mean, you could bump that number up. If you're looking, my guess, just eyeballing it, is he was probably 5 catches a game over the course of that stretch without doing the math.
Yeah.
Does that look about right to you, probably?
Yeah. Give or take. Yeah.
So what's 5 times 17?
Well, 5 times 10 is 50. So
It's 85.
Yeah. 85 feels a little high, just given that it consuming Kittle, the emergence of Juwan Jennings. But I do think that number could get, what'd you say, 68?
I said 68.
I don't think it's inconceivable like a 75 sweet spot.
And is he second on the team then? He's ahead of Kittle probably then? Does Debo's number stay at 77, or does that number change?
I think both the two guys could be around in the 70s because Debo's kind of unique. He'd get the ball. Like they're not just like, never running back again. Like what happens in a tie game against the Rams in the fourth quarter is like, put that motherfucker back there.
Ty Davis Price.
19. Yeah, we're going to go pitch sweep here coming in. Debo Samuel. Get,
fourth down, 1 play left from the 24-yard line. That'll be a run play for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot like, yeah, we're going to run a lot more with other people. And then you're in a tie game against the Packers in Lambeau. You're like, put them back there.
I didn't want to run it 12 more times today, but we're going to have to. Yeah.
Especially when it's like, well, Kyle, you get wide open lanes. That's the other thing. I mean, Kyle does get you lanes.
You saying less big hits?
Well, I mean, Debo kind of runs into some people.
I know.
But Debo does that when he's going across the middle. Like Aiyuk is a little more of a true wide receiver. He'll kind of hit the ground. He just kind of he has wide receiver vibes. Debo has some Kittle vibes. Like, okay, guys, 3 guys want to tackle me. I bet you guys are all going to be on the ground. I'll be spinning around, get 5 extra yards.
I know.
Which is good. But I do think that's the biggest question mark with their passing game is like, I feel very confident that Aiyuk is going to play 17 games. Like I just expect him to play 17 games. Now, obviously guys can get hurt, but Debo, Kittle, who are I would say they're 1 and 2 option in the passing game. And then Aiyuk would be third. I have zero confidence that they all can play all 17 games like this season. If you told me right now, would you sign up for 15 each? I'd be, yeah. For both those guys.
And you just hope that they overlap, right? The two of them are healthy when one of them's hurt, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
That would not be a problem.
At all. If it
45 games between the 3. Yeah. It wouldn't be ideal, but wouldn't be.
I mean, there's just a nature to this. There's a nature to the sport where guys, you're going to be more inclined to get hurt when you play like George. You play like George Kittle. It's just hard to stay healthy, right? He just finds himself in a shitload of collisions. Feels like Kelsey is a good example of a guy who plays the same position. Little, obviously, less is asked of him in the running game, partly because he's not the blocker, and 2, Andy doesn't like running the ball. When the ball is in his hands, he's just more inclined to like kind of save himself. Or Kittle is just, and I don't blame him, but he wants to inflict pain on individuals in the open field. And I don't think Debo does as much. He feels confident about his, his balance, his body and balance control and just power on contact. A lot of guys don't avoid hits because on contact, I'm going to go down. Like I think Debo feels like, fuck, you hit me, I can bounce off like a running back.
I think he's trying to score on every play too.
Debo?
Yeah.
Feels like Kittle is too.
Kittle is too.
Yeah. Like Kittle, this is a 5-yard slant, man. Just